has vibration while driving down the road. Now, I've had CV axles vibrate under low conditions. However, I mean, these motor mounts are horrible, and you'll see. Okay, that fell out. So what happened when I was diagnosing it, I simply, if you look down here, see if that camera picked that up. If you look down here, I've put some rubber inserts down there. It's simply just some heater hose, and because before this mount was just resting on this metal here, so once the car start moving, CVTs normally, since it doesn't have a transition to a gear in this infinite gear ratio, it'll have a propensity to move back and forth, and it'll feel like it's shuddering. So first thing you want to do, of course, is fix the motor mounts, because that should absorb those conditions. And I have had CV axles do that, but once I diagnosed the car, I didn't see the axle vibrating excessively. And this is, when I tell you this is bad, it's bad. It's sagging. So I just took a, well, it wasn't a heater hose. It was actually an old belt that I folded over and put down in there. I have a jack sitting under the transmission right now. I'm gonna lift it up. You'll see the excessive play in here, and I'm gonna pull those out and show you how it looked before. So this is how it was originally. It just falls, and it doesn't have any type of cushioning or anything. And we got a hell of a gap right there too. So it doesn't do it while you're decelling, coming to a stop. It only do it when you partial, give about a quarter throttle and accelerate, and then you'll feel a vibration. Like I said, I had CV axles do that. However, you know, these mounts are horrible, so we're going to take care of these first and test drive it, being that these are obviously defective, because the car shouldn't be having that much vibration to begin with, because the motor mount, these rubber inserts, are supposed to absorb that. It seemed like there's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fasteners here we're going to have to remove, and they all just seem topical. But you can see here that excessive clearance that I was referring to. I mean, it's supposed to be able to support itself on these rubber, this rubber insert. So I'm going to jack it up and show you, and it's like about an inch of play there. Plus I need to relieve a little bit of pressure anyway. Yeah, that'd be fine right there. He's loose on the frame. It's a 5/16. I mean, it's extremely close. Not the same, but similar, but standard. Inch drive here. Impact. Get this one on the side. Straight out. Should come straight out. And okay, lift up on it. That's it right there. Let's absorb the vibration there. We're gonna put it in that little hole. Cool. And I'm gonna get everything in there hand tight, and then run it back in there. You can see it sits a lot higher. mindful about jacking it up so you don't damage the other motor mounts for the front and the rear. From what I understand, the front motor mount on this vehicle, the labor time was 6 hours, man, to replace it. And I'm like, damn, I mean, well, I don't know what is involved with that. I guess the subframe has to come out. Like the most challenging motor mount I had to replace was a Acura, the rear one, the TLs. So we got it in there. I'm gonna drop it. Now I'm not gonna say I don't expect to see some type of resting or support on the bracket here, but this should offer a lot more cushion than before. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not totally content with the way that looks. I hate to say, but hopefully the front and the rear motor mount aren't shot also, because like I said, it took forever to replace. But this should definitely offer a lot more support than before. I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna do the other side, the anchor mount for the engine, being that that's worn out also, and we'll see how that. Then we'll take it on a test drive and see how everything works out. Simply, I'm just going to remove the reservoir here, which is going to be a 10 millimeter, and there's a bracket this motor mount sits on, and this is what it looks like on the base. So you have one fastener here for the bracket, and these right here go on the engine to support itself. So those are 18. There's another one here on the other side. There's the 18 also. So here's the fastener on the bottom. Should be it's almost an 18, like a 17. Felt more like a 17 in there. So I'm thinking the other one had to have been real stiff. This one is just real soft. It's pretty forgiving. Where's the new one? Here's the new one. I can barely push down on this one. It's pretty solid. Let's get that back in there. See if I can test fit. So I got a little room to move it, so I think that's cool right there. So I'm gonna lock it in place. Get everything in there by hand first. Cross thread nothing. Let's drop it. Let's take it on test drive. Alright, just got back off the test drive. Everything worked out just fine with it. There's no more vibration under those slight loads. So again, when I push the accelerator pedal going about 50 miles an hour, it shake violently. That's gone. So just from replacing these two mounts here. And like I said, I've had this happen before with the CV axle, but when you diagnose it and how I do it, I know it's going to probably be unorthodox, but I just disconnect the ABS module. You're going to have to clear any codes that come back. So I disconnect that, jack one side up, chalk the wheels, let one wheel rotate, and then you'll see the CV axle do this number. I didn't see that. And when I put the rubber inserts under the transmission mount here, it definitely alleviated about 20%. So it was progressively getting better, and it seemed like a logical thing just to replace that transmission mount and the anchor mount. So once I put the belt, that rubber inside this mount here, the noise moved over to the passenger side, and so both of those anchor mounts were likely the culprit in which they were. Also, I jacked the bottom of the transmission up and jacked the engine up, and they have some little excessive play. Just like you can push down on the rubber insert, and it's pretty forgiving. That motor's pretty heavy, and I probably can't apply no more than probably about I don't know, probably about 20 pounds worth of force on this thing, and it's moving. But other than that, I mean, the labor time on this is like 2 hours. Do both mounts. It's a lot that I didn't film as far as taking the wheels off, chopping the tires and all this other stuff that's associated with safety. But yeah, so everything's working perfectly fine now. And hopefully the CV axle don't wind up being a problem later in the future. But being that this is rectified with these, hopefully the vibration didn't damage the CV axles over time. So, but it's not like a thing as if they're not going to become defective. CV axles are normal, like a maintenance thing. When they fail, the boot fails, they're going to be replaced anyway. But either way, this car's fixed. It's going to get shipped off. We'll see what happens with this car in the future. But other than that, this is the 07 Nissan Altima Coupe. Yeah, two-door. Forgot what I was driving. But hit that link, subscribe to the channel, stay informed, have reassurance of my work. See you on the next one.